Hello, hi everybody, and welcome back to Stargate to the Cosmos. And I'm your host, Janet Keir Lessin, and my co-host is Dr. Sasha Alex Lessin. Our producer is Deborah DeFranco, and you're listening to Revolution Radio Studio B. And we're back for the second hour. Before we bring on our second hour guest, Cassandra Kubinski, who is a singer, we need to go and remind everybody to please go up to revolution.radio and make your donation. Up at the top left, there's a tab for your monthly or your current donation. Donation. And then there's a Patreon link where you can make a recurring donation. And we do thank you very much for donating to the station. Your donations allow us to stay on air and keep bringing you these types of shows. So, Dr. Lessin, would you like to say anything before we bring on Cassandra?
No, I'm just looking forward to getting to know you, Cassandra.
And is Cassandra there? Cassandra, are you there? Deborah, did you manage to bring on Cassandra? Hi.
I believe we have.
Here.
Hi.
Hi, Cassandra. Let me tell you, the audience, a little bit about you. So you were in the, at a young age, your parents were really loved the 70s singer-songwriters like Billy Joel and Carole King and Jackson Browne, Joni Mitchell, etc. And so you decided to go and try out for Annie in a musical, and I guess you got the lead. And then you were in the Godspeed 20th anniversary production. Anyway, you've got this path that you started at 12 years of age or something, and you started getting a paycheck at age 12. Now, Dr. Lessin, Sasha, he was a child actor, but he didn't continue, but you continued. So tell us about your life and how you got to here. Sounds amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a pleasure to be here, and it's definitely going way back. That's how I got started was, as a kid, I just really loved music and singing, and I was singing around the house all the time. I got into community theater because my mom wanted me to find a place to sing that was somewhere outside of the house. So she had me audition for Annie, actually. And in the very first production I did, I was too afraid to audition for the lead role. So I didn't, and I played an orphan in the show. But as soon as I got my feet wet, I knew that I loved it. And so I really then aspired to play that leading role of Annie. And when my mom saw that the Goodspeed Opera House was having auditions for the show, which at the time was the 20th anniversary production of the show, and Goodspeed is where the show originally launched, I went, and yes, I booked it, and I have been in the entertainment industry ever since. But since then, my path is it did continue in theater and film and TV for a little while, but after I graduated from college, I've almost entirely focused on being a singer-songwriter who, writes my own music and performs my own music.
And what's your style of music?
It's very theatrical singer-songwriter, so it's quite influenced by the musicals that I grew up on and the 70s singer-songwriters that you mentioned, like Billy and Carole King. I think more contemporary people that I would be compared to are Ingrid Michaelson and Sarah Bareilles. That's comparisons I get a lot.
Mm-hmm. So you said you did, how did you get from your little local productions to television? What happened?
Well, when I booked the role of Annie at Goodspeed, so that was the first professional gig I did, and once I did that, there was an agent who was interested in working with me, and so I started working with her, and I booked some other roles in theater through her, and also that's how I got the opportunity to audition for film and TV in New York City. And I didn't do a lot. I did the movie Finding Forrester with Sean Connery, and I did the TV show Spin City with Michael J. Fox, but it was definitely a fascinating couple of years as a kind of like a mid-teen. I think I was doing it when I was 14, 15-ish. Yeah, it was certainly something different for a teenager. And then I decided I just wanted to be a normal teenager and play softball and go to my prom. So I kind of backed out of it for a little while.
So what's your life like now? Like, tell us about your average day. Where do you live? What's it like being...
Sure.
Do you have a dog?
Yeah. I have a temporary dog.
Okay.
So I have my sister's dog, whose name, it all comes back around. Her name is Annie. So my sister named her dog after Annie because she is kind of reddish colored. So I do have Annie with me right now, and she's laying at my feet as we speak. But wow, so an average day for me, I am living in Saratoga Springs, New York, which is where before the COVID quarantine situation, I was back and forth between Hoboken, New Jersey, where I still have an apartment, and Saratoga Springs in upstate New York, which is where my husband and I have a condo. And we always kind of thought, oh, like this is just it's a weekend thing. It's a vacation thing. But now it's our real home, and we've been here almost exclusively since March. So my days, they kind of have an order to them, but I would say that the components of a really great day are singing. So making sure that I sing or have a voice lesson or do an online performance for people, meditation and yoga, spending time outside. I'm so lucky we live next to a state park, so we can go hiking and biking, and we have a pool in the complex, so that's really awesome too. And then there's the work of being a singer-songwriter and an entertainer and staying in touch with fans and with people and like really listening in on the culture and seeing, hey, like what am I going to write about next? What is there to feel and to say and to reflect?
So what do you write about next?
Do you have a COVID song?
I do, actually.
COVID.
I do. I wrote at the very, very beginning of the quarantine, I felt like people were really stressing out. So I wanted to write something to lend at least a little bit of levity to the situation. So I wrote a song called Stuck With You that, was designed to be shared with whoever you were quarantining with, whoever you were kind of like stuck with for the next foreseeable future. So that I made a video of that, and that's out on my YouTube page. I didn't release the song out to Spotify or wherever, but if you want to see the video of me playing it, it's on YouTube.
I will find that.
We're going to put it on your page.
I'll grab that. Yeah. Thanks for telling me about that.
Cool.
So you're stuck with your husband and your sister's dog. How did you get your sister's dog? Why did you have her own dog? There's a story there.
Well, so when my sister got definitely. So when my sister got the dog, this was about 7 years ago, and at the time, I was sort of vagabonding. Like I wasn't really living any one particular place, and I didn't want to. I felt very happy with going between my boyfriend's place, which now my husband, and my sister's place on the Upper East Side and crashing with friends. So I was kind of like doing the artistic, vagabonding thing. And Allie, my sister, during that time, she got a dog, she got Annie, and it just wasn't, she couldn't really have the dog in this little apartment that she had on the Upper East Side. So we moved in together fairly shortly. And so Annie I'm kind of like Annie's second mom, and I do claim that title with pride. So I feel like, she's definitely Allie's dog, and she loves Allie more than me, and I think that's how it should be. But I was lucky to kind of have the opportunity to be the second caretaker for Annie, especially because my sister had a job that took her traveling around the world for a couple of years. So I would be at home with the dog for weeks on end. And that was really, it was really fun. And it was also great for me to see that I didn't necessarily want my own dog, but I liked being the co-caretaker of a dog.
You're anti.
Wait, you said that she loves your sister more. How did she tell you that? How do you know that?
Well, I don't know, because so my sister now has this fiance who's great, and they're always saying that when I come over that Annie, spazzes out and like freaks out more than she does about any other person. But I don't know. I think they're just saying that to make me feel good. But, cause that's how I feel when we give Annie back to my sister. Annie is like in her glory, she just can't even like contain herself. She's so happy.
Oh, okay. She just likes your sister. How did you meet your husband?
Well,
How did you two meet?
Yeah, we had been friends, for years, and we never ever thought that there was anything. I mean, we weren't looking at each other with any kind of interest. We were just friends, and we were in a friend group together. And at a certain point, we both found ourselves out of the relationships that we had been in. And on one fateful night in the Poconos with all of my friends, we were down there doing kind of like a group weekend. The magic was discovered, and that was it. Ever since then, we've been having a lot of fun together and adventuring together and coming out to your neck of the woods. We love coming to Maui, and we've been 3 years in a row. I don't know if we're going to be able to make it 4 this year.
I'm not sure if they're accepting people. Everybody's locked down.
No, there's a system. If you show 3 times in a row that you have you're clear, and you can come here. You just have to show.
It's a lot of hoo-hoo, as we say. Hoo-hoo in Hawaii.
It's doable. Right. It's quite doable.
Yeah.
Well, we have a tentative plan. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. What part of the island do you like to go to when you come to Maui?
Well, I feel like we're still exploring. So we've done the Kaanapali area twice, and then we've done the Wailea area once. But we also, like the first trip, we did, rode to Hana. We did not do Haleakala until this past year. We took my parents there for their 40th anniversary. So while we were there, we hiked up your volcano. And and so, and also did some upcountry hiking, which we hadn't done before. So that was really cool. But yeah, I think we're discoverers. So we really like to know, what else there is to see in addition to kind of going to the tried and true places.
Great. What would you recommend, Sash?
Just cruise and go down where the drum circles are and hang out at the drum circles, and people will turn you on to the parties that are happening. There's a good one at Baldwin on Friday nights, and at Naked Beach down at Little Beach on Sundays. This is sun setting, and the dolphins come to listen to our drum circles.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to write that down. I'm like, where's my pen? I got to write this down.
Little Beach on Sunday. Get there a few hours before the sun goes down, and bring an umbrella because it's very hot.
Yeah.
And it's a good, safe place to swim. And the dolphins come, and if there's in the season when the whales are there, they come and look at the people. They love the didgeridoo.
Really?
Yep. Whales come, people watch.
Yeah, the dolphins think it's the greatest thing. They just go, come and dance, and everybody at the beach is doing this kind of group dance where somebody will get in front and then everybody does what that person does, and it's really neato.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
Is that still going on now?
Well, not now.
Oh, no.
No. Right now, the world
You got a distance.
is upside down, gone crazy. And yeah, so you're up at your other. Are you planning to come back? Is your other place in New York? I got lost where your other place, the Poconos. Oh, okay. So you're not in New York. It's in your bio. You moved to New York at one point, but you're not in New York anymore. I was just going to ask you
we're directly outside of New York. So our place is in Hoboken, New Jersey, which is right over the Hudson River. So we're kind of there. Mm-hmm. And before quarantine, I was working in New York all the time because I do voiceover work and my studio production sessions and working with the different musicians and producers and performing. I had a performance gig at a hotel in Manhattan. So all of that, really came to a halt with the quarantine situation. So yeah, we're really not there right now. And I think New York is having a little bit of a tough time. People who are there, who live there, they're just sticking it out. But if you have another place to go, I think most people are taking off.
Yeah.
Makes sense, yeah.
Abandoning the big cities.
At least for now.
Wow. For now.
You need space to breathe,
Literally, you need space.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's why we got this place, for sure. We really feel so grateful that we have this space now, but I mean, it was even before. It's healing and it's rejuvenating. I call it my retreat. I feel like every time I come here that I'm kind of on a retreat, and it's just good for the soul.
It's an advance, not a retreat.
Yeah.
It's advanced, yeah. So you do kirtans as well. We just had Jaya talk the first hour, and so you're a yoga teacher. Are you doing that online? Are you doing some of the kirtan music like Jai? Are you working with Jai at all?
So I'm not yet. I mean, maybe we could. That would be pretty cool. So right now I'm really, most of what I do is in, I guess, probably more secular, like more pop music. And again, like writing my own songs, and I play the piano, so that's my main instrument. I have my drum that I play in kirtans. I have it up here with me, but I haven't written anything on it. So that would be fun to do, to like play with writing something on that instrument. So I've mostly been joining in on online yoga classes and meditations, but I haven't led any online kirtans yet.
Oh boy, that sounds great.
So Sasha's a yoga master. Why don't you guys talk yoga for a moment?
I used to, Jaya Earthchild used to play her either the harp or her electric piano while I taught my yoga classes outside. It was wonderful to combine music that reflected what was actually going on with the yoga.
Yeah, well, that's
written for yoga.
I think that's one of the, I find it fascinating how many intersections there are between music and yoga, because in some way we're dealing with vibration, right? On like both levels. And what we do when we practice yoga is shift our state, and shift our vibration. And of course music does that purely by just moving through you. So yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously such a natural pairing, the yoga and music. It is a special experience to get to do a class, and a flow with live music. So that's so cool that you were doing that.
Yeah, he we were talking to Jai and Sasha met Jai, or they met each other. What was that? It
was a week-long celebration called Night on the Ganges. Was the climax of it, and it was this kirtan. Everybody, was high in every imaginable way. It was just we were in our own Genjis.
Wow. That's so cool. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of specifically devotional music, I would say. Like, I haven't made a lot of that. I've participated in tons of it, but as far as like what I've made and released, I haven't. But my next release, my next single, which is coming out on August 21st, is a remix of a song called Stardust, which actually has its roots in Maui. But so the song Stardust, I did this remix with DJ Taz Rashid, who is very known in the yoga world and plays at Wanderlust and Yoga Journal Conference and Bhakti Fest. So that was a really interesting collaboration, and that was definitely a move that I made because I wanted to explore combining my own love for yoga and the yoga world with, my songwriting and my love for sharing music with people and just, making a difference through music and shifting the vibration through music. So yes, I'm really excited about that. And that's kind of like my first foray.
I can tell you're going to do really great. I just feel great things are going to come out of you, that's going to advance consciousness in a celebrative way. I got it. You're on it.
Thank you. Yeah. Amen. That's totally what I'm up to.
So how does it work now? So when you release something, when I was a kid, and I'm much older than you, everything was on the radio, but I get so confused on how does music get found and recognized, and how do they rate it? We used to have the countdown to the top 100, and there were these billboard things. How do they do it now? Is it the same system? Is it a new system? How does your music get rated? Or how do they track sales? Can you explain that to us old folks here?
Yeah, sure. So it's a great question, and you are definitely right that the system has shifted dramatically. But I think what's interesting is there are multiple systems in place, and one of them is very similar to, what you're talking about. There's still a whole system of radio and, getting on the charts via radio airplay. The sales system is a little different because most people have moved towards the streaming. So not as many people purchase physical product like a vinyl or a CD, but many, many, many people subscribe to a streaming service. So I don't have the exact formulas, but I know that every single different platform, like if you listen to my songs on Pandora versus Spotify versus Google Play, if you download it on iTunes, all of those different providers, they pay the creators a different rate, and the spins get counted in a different way. So it's quite complicated, especially because there are so many different ways that you can discover music. Like you said, I mean, now it's like you can just type something into YouTube and find the audio version, the many live concert versions, remixes, like all kinds of stuff will come up. So the answer is like there's a very complicated system, and I'm not really sure that anybody knows exactly what it is, but we all have to deal with it.
So somehow money gets in your bank account.
Well, hopefully. Listen, I mean, I think, they always say, I remember this quote from when I got into learning about the music business, and they said that music publishing is a pennies business, but you want to make sure you're getting your pennies. And I think like now, monetizing your music on these different platforms is kind of like a fraction of a pennies business. But listen, it's still your fraction of a penny. So you want to make sure that, and that's why it's so helpful for sure. It's very, very helpful to artists. I don't know if, fans necessarily recognize this, but it's very helpful when you follow an artist or when you add an artist's song to your playlists. All of that kind of sends a message to the algorithms on these digital platforms. So that's, it's not sexy, but it's definitely kind of like a reality of the way that music gets discovered these days.
So I want to make sure we get all your links so people can follow you, and I will go grab some of your YouTube stuff and add it to your show page, because we're here to support you, to help you get some sales, and you got to feed, Annie.
Yeah, we did.
And that's everything.
She needs more chicken.
Does she sing with you? I know when some of my dogs, we start singing, they go, ooh.
What kind of dog is Annie? She's got red hair, or what kind of dog is she?
So she is a Chihuahua mix. She's probably about 15 pounds, and everybody has different guesses about what she is. Is she part Pomeranian? Is she part pug? But she's definitely Chihuahua. She's got the very triangular ears, and yeah, she's pretty darn cute. She does get a lot of compliments, and she doesn't appreciate them, but she gets them.
Well, if you have a picture, please send it to us. We'll talk about it.
I will.
Put her up there on your website.
I will.
Yeah, so make sure we have all your links. We have the Spotify.
You can do a great parody on Annie, because it's so much and related to the gun control issue.
Oh, Annie gets to do that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Wrong Annie. Orphan Annie, right?
Oh, that Annie. Oh.
Yeah, you're not Annie, honestly. Orphan Annie.
Right.
Confused.
That's funny. Well, you know what? It's you're not alone, because my husband, when I told him that I had been in Annie the musical, and it was this very big developmental part of my childhood, in his mind he was thinking, like, why did they make a musical out of Annie Frank? Like, isn't that depressing? Like, wouldn't that be a depressing musical? So we had to explain to him that Anne Frank is not Annie. He's from Romania, so he didn't really know about Annie.
So it says you raised over $25,000 for animal rescue charities. So tell us about your charity work. And there was something about the autism, something autistic. Tell us about your charity work. How does that work?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that I love to do, and it's such an honor to do, and it always just tickles me pink to do it, is to find a way to have a song really make an impact for a community or a cause. So I had a song, I had this one song called You Get Me, and I wrote it with my friend and co-producer Tony Daniels. And You Get Me, we originally wrote it for a commercial, but it didn't get picked up for the commercial. So we were thinking, like, what can we do with this song? And it's a very quirky, kind of fun song. I played the kazoo on it, which is a little bit, not many people are doing that. So, and we were like, what do we do with this? And I said, the song is the simple sentiment is just purely, you have somebody who really gets you and who lets you be yourself and who doesn't, get in your way in this crazy world. And we thought that's how we feel about our animals. So why don't we see if we can make a difference for animals with the song? And that's what we proceeded to do. So we made a music video that features a lot of different people and their pets. A few different celebrities that you might recognize from the movies are in this music video. And we paired up with a variety of different animal rescue charities to, make different videos for them. We played a few concerts in Manhattan. The concerts are where we were able to raise that money, and the money went to the Humane Society of New York, as well as Helping Lost Pets, which is an international group, and Howl of a Dog, which is a Romanian group that we are close to, thanks to my husband's Romanian ties. So yeah, and that was just one example of, I love to see a song take on a different meaning, because like if you hear the song, you don't necessarily think, oh, this is about a dog or a cat or an iguana. But I think when you layer that onto it, maybe the song takes on more meaning, and definitely what we did with it, it was really meant to be for people who love their pets.
And then you raised tens of thousands of dollars for the autism community. Tell us about that. Do you have somebody you know that's autistic?
So I do.
Is there something?
Yeah, I do. My friend Vanessa has 2 sons on the autism spectrum, and she had asked me if I would write something for their walks so that they could have an anthem that people could unite and sing together on these walks. And I thought, that's an interesting songwriting challenge, but I felt really drawn to it, particularly because I had an aunt, my mother's sister, who's now passed, but she, in her life, was a special needs individual. And I just remember she was really impactful on me, and she was such a remarkable, funny, quirky, great human being. And she just wanted to be loved and accepted the way that she was. And that really became the theme of the song, is that like no matter our apparent differences, we all want to be loved for who we are. We want to be accepted for who we are. And we want to be able to, go out and be that and like not have people trying to change us. So that kind of became the message in the song.
Well said. Yes. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, so that song began in the autism community locally in New Jersey and New York, but it grew and took on a life of its own. We made a music video for it that was sponsored on a nonprofit level, and then out of the blue, I got the opportunity to re-record the song with the band The Goo Goo Dolls and the lead singer from the band 10,000 Maniacs. Mary Ramsey. And so a few years ago, we recorded the song and released it to support a particular autism institute in Western New York. So that was really incredible. And we did a launch concert that raised, I think that was also 25,000 or 35,000. It was somewhere in that range. Yeah. So, it's, the song is called Not So Different. I should mention that. And, and it just really, it's been incredible. Like it's really out of my hands, like that song continues to spread through the autism community. And I'm just so grateful that it seems to reflect the experience of people who are on the spectrum and also people who love someone on the spectrum. So, Not So Different is that song. And you can definitely find that on YouTube as well.
Very interesting. So, how do you know Billy Joel? He gave you a compliment or a quote. He said, Cassandra Kubinski is very similar to the singer-songwriters of the late 70s. She proves that the genre of singer-songwriter can still be transcended, Billy Joel. So, how do you know Billy Joel?
So, Billy, first of all, of course, I'm a huge fan and I love his music and just who he is and as a writer, it has really influenced me. So, but I met Billy in 2008 and he sent one of his friends over to see my concert. I was playing at a very small dive bar in the East Village in New York. And when his colleague came to see me and he told me that Billy Joel had sent him, I didn't believe him. I just thought like this is too crazy, like there has to be an ulterior motive, like what's going on? But it turned out it was true. And, Billy had heard a particular song of mine called Cradle the Moon and he really, really liked it. And, and it was very mind blowing to have somebody that I respected so much tell me that he respected me as a writer. I mean, I was like, okay, well, I don't even know what to do with this. So Billy's been a good friend and a supporter over the years. I haven't yet opened for him, so that would be something that I would love to do to support him. But I mean, he's just so insanely talented, and I feel really lucky that that we've crossed paths.
Wonderful. Okay, we've got about, maybe 10 minutes left. What do you want the world to know about you?
I love that question. I love that question because I feel like it really like puts you on the spot to be like, you know, are you going to own yourself? Or are you just going to like say some, you know, some like thing about some superficial, like whatever thing that you think people want to hear. So I'm going to say, what do I want people to know about me? I want them to know that I really do believe that vibration can heal and can change people. And I'm constantly intrigued by being a force for that. I want people to know that I'm a very feisty Leo. And as my husband already knows, sometimes when you get up close to a Leo when she is sleeping on a warm rock and she doesn't want to be bothered, like you can get scratched. So you just have to be careful of that. What do I want people to know about me? That I love sharing music. I mean, I love meeting other people who love music and are passionate about music. So if that's you, if you're somebody who is really passionate about music, send me a message. I'm very available on social media and at my website. And, I just, you know, I'm an adventurer. I'm a traveler. I'm always looking to learn. So if that's something that you're into too, it'd be fun to have a conversation.
So what do you see for your future?
I see growth in being able to make a difference with music. And I really see, I see myself becoming like more and more truthful as a songwriter, and as a singer and as someone who can like cut through the noise and just there's so much, you know, junk out there in the culture. And I think people need to be reminded that they're powerful. I think people need to be reminded of how important it is for us to listen to each other, and to connect with each other, outside of the space of ego and just, you know, getting what we want. And that's something that I think I have the power to do as a writer, is to remind us of these things and to remind us of our humanity and our connectedness, you know, and like the essentialness of our connectedness. So I just see me doing that more and on a more global scale and on a much bigger level. I would love to, you know, be considered a hit songwriter. Like that's something I've always wanted, is to have a song that is, I mean, not just one, hopefully many, but let's start with one, you know, a song that really is known around the world and loved around the world. Yeah, so that's what I see. And I definitely also see, fingers crossed, you know, getting back out and, traveling and performing for more people where they are, because I really miss that.
Mm-hmm. What does it take to make a hit? What do you think it needs to go ahead?
Your guess is as good as mine, sister.
Wow.
Well, I don't, you know, here's the thing. I've been writing music for, oh my gosh, let's see. I wrote my first songs that I officially thought were pop songs in my first year of college. And that was, I was 17. So like 17 years or so that I've been writing songs. And I think that, you know, what makes a hit? Wow. I look at, you know, hits in all kinds of different genres. And I think at the end of the day, it's just like, on one level, it's a song that connects emotionally with people and they make it their own. They feel like there's something in that song that's like a core emotion that they just appropriate that, you know, and they feel that. But on the other hand, I think there's a lot of marketing that goes into making a song a hit these days, depending on the genre and the space, you know, that you're in. But, yeah, and so, you know, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That just is what it is. But, you know, we all know many wildly talented people who never really became like hit artists. So I think like finding that balance of the song that connects with people and then like the method and the means of getting it out there so that a lot of people can like it, that's something that's essential to have a hit.
No, I'm just thinking of the songs that really move me, but the interesting one is it's so mysterious. All over Europe, the most famous American song is "Blinded by the Light." It sounds like an acid trip.
Right.
Yeah, and then when I went to Australia, they kept singing "Bye Bye Miss American Pie" in all the pubs. And everybody knew every word, and they would just sing it. So, what do you think are your favorite songs, and what was it about them that inspires you?
Yeah, there are so many. I mean, definitely so many Billy Joel songs. Like, I remember going on vacation with my family and singing the "That's Not Her Style," which I don't remember which album that's from. But that's a song that really stayed with me. "The Stranger" is a huge song of Billy's that I love. But yeah, and I feel like, any given artist, I have a few songs that I just love. Like with Sarah Bareilles, her song "One Sweet Love" is just, there's something about it. Like it always comes back for me. Or I was just talking about this John Mayer song, "Slow Dancing in a Burning Room," the other day, and I was like, man, that song, it's just, the whole metaphor of it is incredible, and the way the music supports the story. It's like, that to me is not only just an amazingly written song, but it just really stays with me. Yeah, and lately also I've been on a huge musical theater kick again. So like now I'm just like diving back into all the musical theater that I haven't really been paying attention to in the last 10 years or so. And I'm rediscovering, it's so crazy like what a huge impact a lot of those classic musicals had on me. And when I revisit them, like Pippin and Fiddler on the Roof, and even Annie, that musical, it's like, man, so many of those songs are just like, they're giant songs, and they were the hit songs of their day. It was like back then, like Broadway songs could become hit songs. So yeah, I don't discount that. Like those are hit songs just because it's not, Rihanna or Britney Spears or whoever it is today.
Right. Have you ever worked at one of those restaurants where they sing in New York?
Oh yeah,
oh my God. Yeah, the Starlight Diner. No, I haven't actually. I never did. I was pretty lucky that when my day job's in New York, I did other stuff. Like I was like an office assistant for a few jobs, and I was a personal assistant to one of the guys that started Blue Man Group. But I didn't really, I didn't do the singing waitress thing. I just never really thought of it.
Yeah, we were we visited the restaurant. Oh, now what about Broadway? Would you like to be on Broadway someday if they open that back up again, which they will eventually?
Right?
Is
Yeah.
that something you aspire to do?
Definitely. It's something that as I mentioned, I stepped away from for a while, but it's really in my blood, and I think it's really in my voice, and I love it. The thing about Broadway to me that is so different than the music world is that Broadway is a community that's really centered in New York, so there's like a geographical center to where the Broadway community is. And also there's just something about being a part of that tradition of the evolution of musicals. And I love writing my own music, but I do miss being a part of a theatrical family. 'Cause when you're in a show, you're in a cast and like you play your role, but everyone else has their role. And I do miss that a lot. So I would say 100% yes, it is in the cards for me to be on Broadway and to be back doing that again.
Do you see children in your future? And that's a horrible question, but I was just curious. I wondered how many children would emerge from COVID, everybody being stuck with each other. Yeah.
Yeah, true, right? Well, let's just say that my husband and I are not working on it at the moment, but like, I don't know. I do think it could happen. We're not against it. I don't know. I don't know if we're quite ready to go down that path. But if we do, I think it's going to be quite the adventure.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sash.
For me, it's like the whole generation that I'm a part of comes from this song from Aquarius. We feel like this is our time for everything to come together, and that the challenges that we're feeling are part of what's making us conscious of what we've got to do to make it come together. And it's really a big celebration if you look at it that way. And that song guided us, and love can steer the stars. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have do you think your generation has a song that unifies them or represents your generation?
Wow. I don't know. If there is, I don't know that I'm aware of it, but I do think that there are many different songs that touch on issues that are important and that are transforming, in my generation. So I think, and again, like you said, because now the way to get music out and the paths to discovery are so ubiquitous. So it's also, I think, harder for like one song to kind of grab on and become the call of a generation. But I do think, like, I think of, there was a Black Eyed Peas song called Where Is the Love that was like so big for a little while. And I think a lot of artists are saying, they're saying something that has a more substantial message now. And I'll be curious to see, more of what comes out of this time period in particular. Because like you're saying about coming together and really feeling united by something, I'm not sure that we do. I think that's a challenge that's been given largely by the technology, is like, how can we really see ourselves as connected when it's I this and iPhone that and customized everything, and, how do we maintain that memory of ourselves as intricately connected to each other, and also like how important that is that we honor that, and that we put, we have to live that way. It can't be like, yeah, that sounds good, but then like actually it's all about me. So it's an interesting question.
Right. So what do you think about, though, I guess we call it global warming, but it's just the earth changes or pollution of the planet. What do you see as your personal role and the role of your generation to tackle some of these problems that, frankly, we'll be leaving to you guys in another 10, 20 years? So it's kind of like each generation passes the torch, and we do some good things, but we do some horrendous things. What is your generation going to do? What can you do personally? What do you think you can do to unify everybody? And even do you see if it's a problem? Some people don't think there's a problem, but pass to you. Big question.
Yeah, well, I do. I mean, I think the bottom line is that the earth is our home as humans, and, this is it for now. No matter how much anybody is working on some other place as like a potential other home for us, it's not happening, at least in our generation. So, yeah, so from that vantage point, I think it's going to be essential, and I really do, stand on the side of protecting the earth and investing and making it so that our ecosystem, the ecosystem of us in relationship to the earth and vice versa, can continue to sustain and be healthy. Because literally, the dependence of both of us, it depends on it. So, and how is that going to happen? Well, I think what I see as one of the biggest issues is awareness and education. So I think, again, with my generation being extremely ambitious and extremely self-centered in some ways, that it can be difficult to pay attention to what's going on, and then to really understand how does that impact you, and also to not be cynical about it and be like, well, whatever, like I'll be gone by then, which is sometimes what I hear from people, and that's always, it really is sad to me, because it's like, okay, well, again, like, so this is all about you, like it doesn't matter for future generations. So I would say, two big things would be the awareness and education initiatives that go on around having my generation and the younger generations know what's going on, and not be like having the wool pulled over their eyes or like ignoring it because their day-to-day life is fine right now, but they're just not thinking about the impact for the future.
Do you have any, how may I say this? Is there a way that you, since you're a songwriter and you're of this generation, is there any way you could pull into your songs some inspiration and education that'll help to change this planet? I think that all of us have that ability. Any one of us can be, I don't know what your icon is. Who do you admire most in music right now from your generation? So I'm from this, I'm 66. So I had the Beatles, and so I admired the Beatles.
John Lennon.
And John Lennon was my inspiration. And then through the years, we've had a lot of people, but, they come and go. Many have died. And so each generation, who inspire, can you be the person to inspire generation? That's what I guess I'm asking you or somebody in your generation to show up and be the inspiration through song, because I think, speaking with you and speaking with Jai before you, song is what inspires people to take action. And
yes.
I guess I'm passing the torch and I'm asking you,
great.
how can you take this torch and inspire your generation and other songwriters? There was Michael Jackson and all those people who say we are the world, and that's like the 80s generation, right? So each generation had something, but I'm looking for that from this generation. And since you're a musician of this generation and you're on our show, what can you do? And you don't need to have an answer right now, but maybe sleep on it or...
No, let her talk.
Talk. Go ahead. I'll shut up now. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, the short answer is, write the song and then play it for people. So, on the level that I have access to now, I do that. I just wrote a song called Listen Up, which is not officially released, but I recorded a demo of it because I thought, wow, I think people might need to hear this song. So that's yet another thing that you can find on my YouTube page, is me doing the demo of this song called Listen Up, which kind of addresses that, which is, before everybody starts going and judging and running around and telling everybody else what needs to be done, there's a lot of listening to be done. So there's that, but, Jason Mraz is also an artist of my generation who I think is really, he's walking the walk with his music. So he really does make an impact and, spread a message of harmony with the earth and with other people, through his music. So I really admire him.
Okay, we have about a minute left. How would people reach you? What do you want them to do in this last minute?
Absolutely. Well, I welcome people to come and say hello. My website is CassandraKubinski.com. Or if you'd like to connect with me on Instagram or Facebook, you can send me a message and follow me there. And most importantly, I want to know what you guys think of the music. So if you're on Spotify or Pandora, iTunes, whatever you're on, please go and check it out. My last song was called Stardust, which was inspired in Maui. And so go listen to that.
Cool. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on our show, and thank you, listeners, for joining us this evening, and you have been listening to Cassandra. Now, it's Kubinski. How do you pronounce your last name? Kubinski?
Yep. Cassandra Kubinski.
Okay, I said it wrong. Okay.